Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to MuleSoft training by Geeks. In this video, we'll see how to publish messages to ActiveMQ, whereas it is one of the very popular messaging tools available out there in the market. And we'll see how to exactly publish messages to ActiveMQ using a JMS connector in a Mule application. In the previous video, I've shown you how to download, install, and set up an ActiveMQ on your on-premise machine or on the machine. In case you haven't watched that video, please watch that video first. Have ActiveMQ installed on your machine, up and running, and then proceed with this one. Okay, let's get started. Let's create a new Mule project. Let's call it as Publish JMS Mule application. And let me just do a bit of a cleanup here. Well, let's create a new Mule project, give it a name, and we'll explore how to publish messages to an ActiveMQ with the help of a JMS connector. Let's clear these messages to avoid confusion. Let's add in a HTTP listener. Let's create a connector configuration with the default values, and we'll call it as a publish JMS. Let's add a demo as well, publish JMS demo. And what we want to do is we want to publish whatever payload we receive as input to this, and let's enable this as a post endpoint. Let's go to advanced, and let's say only post method allowed. Okay, and we're going to receive a payload, request payload as input, and all I want to do from this flow is publish that payload as is to a queue in the ActiveMQ. So I have this ActiveMQ installed on my machine, and it's up and running as well, as you can see here. And this is a web console where I can view what are the queues existing in the ActiveMQ along with the pending messages. So from this Mule application, so in case you don't have ActiveMQ up and running, just watch our previous video. It's a 5 to 10 minute video wherein I've explained how to download this ActiveMQ and install it. Okay, so get it done, get it up and running, and then you proceed with this application. Well, all I want to do is from this Mule flow, I want to create a queue in this ActiveMQ, and I want to publish a message there. Okay, so that's all I wanted to do. So to do that, add a module and add a JMS module to the project. And yes, a JMS connector, it gives you few operations. It gives you an operation called publish that you can use to publish a message to a JMS queue. Okay, and ActiveMQ is one such JMS system. So you could publish a message. You could consume a message as well from the queue, because once you publish it, yes, you will have to consume it in a different application, right? After all, that is the whole reason behind publishing a message from one application. So this JMS, with the help of ActiveMQ, you can make applications talk to each other, meaning you can publish a message from this application, and you can consume that message that you're publishing from here in a completely different application, and you can kick off a different flow, and you can consume it from a different application, and you can do whatever you want in there. Okay, so let's see how to publish a message to JMS queue in this one, and we'll see how to use other options available here in the next few videos. So let me drag and drop a publish, and I need to create a JMS connection. So let's create a connection. And when you try to create a connection, it'll ask you to select the required libraries. So you would have you would have downloaded the ActiveMQ, right? So the Apache ActiveMQ zip file. So when you would have unzipped it to a specific folder, and in that folder you will notice that there is you will notice a jar file there. You can use this jar file here as a required library. So ActiveMQ client is required. So click on configure, use local file, and click on browse, and you can pick up that ActiveMQ all.jar file. Pick it up, click OK, yeah, select it. You should see everything turning into green now. Okay, and scroll down. You can you need to give a username and password, because after all, I need to publish a message to this queue, or to this ActiveMQ broker, and I need to know the credentials with which I need to log in first. Otherwise, yeah, if it had not been a secured one, it would have created a lot of confusion, right? Or it would have drastic consequences. So it will be a secure one, and you have to pass in the username and password. And the default password will be admin unless you change it, so you can stick to it. And the factory configuration, you can change it to edit inline, and you can scroll down, and you can use the specific string as a URL, as a broker URL. So you will be pushing messages to a port called 61616, and this is going to be a broker URL. Okay, so paste it in there. Test the connection, it should go through fine. Since ActiveMQ is up and running. If the connection fails here, see if the ActiveMQ is up and running or not. You can go to the command prompt and see if it is up and running or not. Could see a confirmation message that yes, the test is successful. Click OK. And let's create a destination. And you could either pick up an existing queue in the ActiveMQ. So if there is already a queue in the ActiveMQ, you could push the messages to that queue, or you could create a new queue altogether. So I'll probably call it as a Geeks queue. A little bit of branding there. And scroll down, and you can pick up a destination type. So do you want to publish this to a queue, or do you want to publish this to a queue or a topic? And queue will be the one that will be selected by default. Let's stick to it. So the difference between queue and topic is, as I mentioned in the previous video, you will use queue if you want if the number of publishers and subscribers is going to be a 1 and 1. Okay, so if it's a one-to-one message, yes, you will use queue. And if you want to publish a message which is going to be eventually consumed by many subscribers, you will be using a topic for that. And queue will be the ones that you use quite often. And scroll down. By default, the message that gets published will be the payload, and whatever payload you pass to this flow when you invoke it, so that entire payload will be published to this queue. It will be published to this queue, and it will be staying in there until you consume the message from a different application that you're going to create in the next video. Okay, so let's stick to the default parameters. Just checking if you've got everything right. Yeah, that's all we need. And let's go ahead and publish this. Yeah, we can go ahead and activate this flow. Okay, let's run the application. And it's prompting me to save it first. Yes, save and launch the application. I'll go to listener and copy the path. I'll have the request ready in the Postman tool. and I don't need to pass in any query parameters. But what I do is just as an example, I will just post in some payload. This is, yeah, all I wanted to show you is how to publish a message and consume it. And I'm not focusing much on the payload. So I'm just pushing in city details as a payload to this to the endpoint that we have activated now. Okay. So you should see this entire payload that we are passing on to this Mule application in the JMS queue. A new queue should get created in the JMS queue, and you should see this entire payload sitting in there. I'll show you where it appears in the queue as well. Okay, let's see if the application is up and running or not. Go to console. Okay, it's still initializing. Let's give it a moment. Yeah, you see the application is in deployed state now. And what we could do is, yeah, let's fire off a request now. And before I fire off a request from here, I just want to show you one more time that yes, I'm trying to push a message to this ActiveMQ running on my machine on the local host. And I want to create a queue called Enogeeks queue. And you should, and once this invocation is successful, you should see this payload getting queued up here as a message. Okay, so let's fire off the request. And the typical behavior is you would get back the same payload that you have passed in as a response as well, but that's fine. But if you go to ActiveMQ and if you do a refresh, you should see an Enogeeks queue created with a pending message there. And if you want to see what the pending message is, click on it, click on the queue name, and you could see where the message has come from, or what's the correlation ID, and you could see the details in there. You can click on it, and if you scroll down, you see the message details. So a message with this content has been published to the Enogeeks queue, and since this queue does not exist in the queues, Mule application has created this first with the help of a JMS connector, and it has pushed in the payload that we have received into the Mule application. So that exact content has been used to create a message here. Okay. And in the next video, we'll see how to consume this message, how to consume this message from a different Mule application. Yes, of course, you could typically consume it from the same application. I could create another flow here and I could consume the message. But yeah, that is plain and straightforward. But I just want to show you how to consume it from a different application altogether, so that it gives you a feel like how the applications can talk to each other with the help of ActiveMQ or a JMS messaging service like this one. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. In case you are interested in MuleSoft training, please call us on this number or send a WhatsApp message. Thank you.